going to be teaching you how to make a marble effect on a Swiss meringue buttercream cake. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shokwe, as you all know, and I'm going to be teaching you how to make a marble effect on a Swiss meringue buttercream cake. Refer to my last video to check for how to make the Swiss meringue buttercream. This marble effect I'm going to be teaching you is very different from the regular type of marble that you might have been making. It's a different type of technique, and I'm sure you must have seen it somewhere. And it's very easy, trust me, it's very easy. You're going to be needing your baking paper, you're going to be needing small palette knives, colors of your choice, your Swiss meringue buttercream, and your cake, of course, and a fridge to cool the cake. So we're going to be sampling this with a 6 inches Swiss meringue buttercream cake. I'd already covered it. I'm just going to be applying the marble effect on it. So come with me as we try out this very simple technique, and let's enjoy, of course. So this is my 6 inches Swiss meringue buttercream cake. I've already covered it, and that's some remaining Swiss meringue. I had it in the fridge, so I just had to bring it out and work it a little bit with my hand. Then I'm adding the color that I want to use. So for this marble, I'm going to be using just one color, and then the original color of the buttercream, so just this blue color, because I'm trying to achieve blue color, and the cream color. Sorry. So I kept on adding colors till I got my desired shade of blue. I'm just trying to get the measurements of the cake. The total height of this cake is 9-inch cake, but 9 inches. So, but then I'm not covering the entire cake with the marble effect. I'm only going to cover half of it. So I decided to use 5.5 inches for the height. Then I'm also going to measure the circumference of the cake. So I think that's about 21 inches for the circumference. So that's to enable you cut your baking paper. So you could use acetate sheets if you have, but I prefer to use baking paper because it's easy for me and it's not busy folding back like acetate sheets will. So you're just going to measure out, like we're going to cut out what you measure. That's 21 inches by 5.5 inches. So when you are doing marble effect, wherever it is you want to do the marble effect on your cake, you have to measure it and you have to be very precise in order to not to make mistakes. I put this around the cake to be very sure that I have the right measurements. Then I only did some patterns at the edge of the baking paper. It's not compulsory, but I didn't just want the top of the to just be straight. I wanted the effect, the marble effect, to have like some zigzag on top, and that's the reason for this. If you have a paper cutter, you know, you could use that. I didn't have one, so I made use of my scissors. I straightened out my baking paper, and then I started putting the color, the Swiss meringue on it. That's the colored one, and I also put the cream one. Now if you're working with multiple colors, you want to be able to space out like each shade of color. Like if you are using like pink, blue and red or whatever it is, make sure that your pink is not too close to another pink. Like give it space, and put another color in between. But because I'm working with 2 colors for this one, that's the reason why I have like the blue together, and there's no much space in between. So just make sure that you put out space, because that's exactly what's going to give you a marble effect. And I didn't want the cream to be too much, so I made sure that the blue overshadowed the cream. So I did this till the entire baking sheet was covered with my Swiss meringue buttercream. I put it everywhere, leaving very little or no space in between. Doing that, I spread it out evenly. Make sure that you don't apply first when you are spreading it. Spread it out carefully, like be very, very careful, so that you don't end up mixing both colors to be one. So just take your time and spread out carefully. If you need to add more buttercream, please go ahead and add, but it's not compulsory. Just make sure that you spread it out and make sure that you cover the space in between. So after spreading this out and there was no space on it, like everywhere was already covered with the buttercream and what I wanted, I lifted it up from the table, so you can see the marble effect now at the back. So you see, because we're working in one color, there's really not much space. But if you have multiple colors, trust me, it would be very pretty. But this is also pretty as well. The cake was for a man, so we didn't need so much drama.
Can you tell me more about that cake?
So you have to place this very carefully on your cake. Like, be very, very careful, because you don't want to make any mistakes. So I nearly made a mistake there. I quickly lifted it out and put it back on it. Now be very careful so that you don't start again from the beginning. So you put that on your cake, smoothing it out, use your hands to make sure that every part of the paper is sitting well. Like, make sure the buttercream is sitting well on the cake itself, because you are going to freeze it before removing the paper. Then you use like a smoothener, fondant smoothener, or whatever it is you have to like smoothen it out, so it is sitting comfortably on the cake and it's not just hanging in there. So smoothing it out, make sure that if it's not touching the base of your cake, make sure it's touching the base of your cake, and make sure every part of the marble effect sits comfortably on your cake. So that's what I did right here. After smoothing this, I'm making sure that everything is sitting comfortably on the cake. I'm going to toss this in the fridge and leave it for a while. So that's the front of the cake. I made sure to know the front of my cake before putting it in the fridge. So I put it in the fridge. It doesn't necessarily have to be a freezer. Just if I use a chiller, make sure that it cools. I left it for 30 minutes. You could leave it for more. It depends on how intense your freezer or fridge is in terms of cooling. So I left it there for 30 minutes, so it could cool very well. Then I'm just going to carefully, take out the baking paper there. If it doesn't cool carefully, taking out the baking sheets will be very difficult, but because that cooled completely, it was very easy. Then all these parts that are tiny little bits of spaces and were looking very rough, I used my cake comb to smoothen it out, and that's the end of our marble effect. So I'm going to leave you here to watch
to the end on how I finished this beautiful cake.
Please don't forget to like my video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, don't forget to share my videos as well. I look forward to creating more content for you, and I look forward to you watching my videos as well. See you.